r/ask Reddit. What was the greatest act of mass stupidity? I have lived in Atlanta, GA all my life for whatever reason. Just the mention of snow and ice results in convoys of people going the grocery store and pillaging the shelves of bread, eggs, and milk, and then a few days later after our 1 inch of snow, or less, has melted, there is no bread, eggs, or milk left for everyone who treated it like any other time it snowed and just wanted to make breakfast. Once upon a time, somebody spread a rumor across Russia that buckwheat was going to get more expensive. People rushed to the stores to buy buckwheat by sacks, especially old people who remember the Soviet deficits. And what do you know? Buckwheat really did become more expensive after such a huge demand. Self-fulfilling prophecies are fun. Don't forget our 2-week shortage of water due to hurricane panic. Man, right. I don't even think I had anything other than rum and cokes during that whole fiasco. The burrito pitcher in the fridge wasn't even touched. At least the rum wasn't gone. The spaghetti tree hoax. When the BBC ran a spoof news story about how spaghetti is grown from trees and thousands of Brits responded by planting spaghetti noodles in the ground to try to grow their own spaghetti trees. We did it. Reddit. Yup, the Boston bombings shit show. This cemented my beliefs that conspiracy theories people come up with on the internet are all wrong. It's just a bunch of idiots coming up with self-affirming bullshit. I see it a lot right now in relation to the Las Vegas shootings. I've been seeing it all over my social media feed regarding the Vegas shooting. All of a sudden, friends and relatives are ballistic acoustic experts and can determine multiple shooters from the sounds and poor quality phone footage. Every time I see an ad for that new Jeremy Piven show Wisdom of the Crowd I think of this and cringe. Basically as a rule, crowds are not very wise at all. I still quote Tommy Lee Jones from the first MIB movie, "A person is smart, people are dumb." Miami drivers are, stop driving with your hazard lights on in the rain. It rains weekly and people still haven't figured it out. There are highway signs informing them not to do it and they stop. I learn it'll do it. I don't see this often enough that I'd ever really given it a thought, so I had no idea this was even an issue. Thanks for making me realize it's actually illegal in my state, and most others. No problem. Your headlights should be on in the rain making your taillights are visible too. Hazards on make you invisible to the person behind you for a few seconds. Wait, so you are saying people drive with their hazards on but their lights off? Whoa, silly. I thought you meant both on. People do that where I live and it is frustrating. Your hazards should only be on in an emergency. In 1958, Mao Zedong, the leader of the People's Republic of China, decreed that all the sparrows in the country were to be killed. He decided that China could do without pests like sparrows. Mao thought that sparrows ate too much grain and it seemed rational to him for all sparrows to be killed. According to Mao Zedong, sparrows were getting in the way of the economic development of the People's Republic of China. During the next 3 years, 45 million people died in a famine as a result of there being nothing to eat, the pests that destroy crops. Similarly, in order to boost steel production, he also called for the whole of China to start producing steel. The result is basically everyone made crappy steel and China's industrial power was set back due to pig iron. He could have avoided all of this had he not hated intellectuals with a passion. Source: Wikipedia search for backyard furnace. There was a lot more to it than just that one spectacularly bad decision. The sparrow culling was simply one spectacularly bad decision that was part of an idiotically gigantic cluster of other spectacularly bad decisions that together created the shit show of a century and killed millions of people. Electing a reality TV show host president. People in the future will be scratching their heads wondering how that happened. I know I am already. Anytime you have a big group of people trying to decide what and where to eat, where do you guys wanna eat? IDK. I'm down for anything. Anyone want to try that Italian place? EHH. I just had Italian. How about Chinese? I'm okay with Chinese if that's what everyone else wants to do. Okay, does everyone want to do Chinese? Cause we don't have to do Chinese. We can do whatever. And on and on and on. Somebody just pick something. The way my friend group resolves this is that when someone proposes something, if you veto then you have to come up with the next suggestion, in good faith. Generally we land at a compromise within 2 or 3 steps at most. and they gave the Nobel Peace Prize to some a-holes doing nothing but whine about nuclear weapons? Someone give this man a prize. A bunch of people believed an African priestess when she said that if they sacrificed all of their cattle then their dead ancestors would rise from the grave and help them fight off the British colonizers. I'll let you guess what happened. Do you see any British colonizers? Not yet, but they're coming. In my middle school, every morning in the gym, all the kids would like to clap for no apparent reason other than to mess with the teachers. It made no sense to me whatsoever. Happened in our lunchroom. Eventually it got to the point where clapping during lunch got you silent lunch. Then a bunch of parents got involved. My buddy from high school started a slow clap in the middle of lunch one day. It was really funny until it stopped and someone jokingly yelled, "Food fight." Cut to a single milk carton and a handful baby carrots sailing through the air. A few people get hit and then the lunchroom turns into an all-out movie-style food fight. Someone had their birthday ruined that day, because I swear to God a full birthday cake still in the package exploded in the middle of the room. But not a single person got in trouble because they couldn't locate the source of the slow clap, or who yelled food fight. Burning the library at Alexandria not only was stupid, but it perpetuated further lack of learning. Double whammy of stupid. There wasn't one burning first of all but rather a continuous decline, and second there's absolutely zero evidence that the library contained any kind of mysterious breakthrough knowledge that other libraries didn't. I know Reddit likes to incredibly hype stuff up, but stop it with the idea that with the library intact humanity would have advanced faster. It simply doesn't hold up to the actual facts. Dehydrogen monoxide hoax, a 1983 April Fool's Day edition of the Durand Express, a weekly newspaper in Durand, Michigan, reported that dehydrogen oxide had been found in the city's water pipes, and warned that it was fatal if inhaled, and could produce blistering vapors. If you know anything about chemistry, dehydrogen monoxide is water. This guy was telling people water is in your water and so many people were panicking. I have known many people who became addicted and reliant on dehydrogen oxide. Inhalation deprives the brain of oxygen and may cause coughing, unconsciousness, or even death. It is essentially undetectable in other substances. Continuous exposure to its solid form can cause numbness and eventual tissue death. Some of its uses include industrial solvents and coolants, plastic production, and as a fire extinguisher. Tulip mania is widely regarded as one of the first major economic bubbles. People in the early 1600s were amazed by tulips, and in 1637 they just went bananas. They were buying contracts to claim a single bulb when the tulips were fully grown. Some things exchanged for one tulip, a ton of butter, 1,000 pounds of cheese, and 12 sheep. Eventually it got to the point where people were paying 10 times the annual wage of a skilled craftsman for a tulip. Eventually people realized, wait, I'm buying one stupid flower for how much? And the market for tulips collapsed. Basically, Beanie Babies. Are you aware of the great Beanie Baby divorce? A couple got divorced and essentially, one at a time, got to choose who kept which baby. I will never not find that picture funny. A&W's 1/3-pound burger. Even though people thought it tasted better and it was bigger than McDonald's quarter pounder, it flopped because people thought 1/3 was a smaller fraction than 1/4. Wait until I release my 1/5-pound burger. During the early days of Chinese communism, there was a mass rally at one of their army's camps. At the time, there was an intense fear of infiltration by outsiders who wanted to sabotage them. One of their chants started, and a portion of the crowd accidentally said, I'm misremembering it badly, but it is something like this: we validate the conclusions of the Second Comintern's view on the path of communism. That was an outdated chant, as they had been a third Comintern which represented the current ideology. A lot of these people were farmers and it was very hard to keep track of the political message, which were always changing. Them messing up the chant was taken as a sign that they were infiltrators, dissidents, and a huge fight broke out in the camp, killing thousands of people. Some fast food restaurant came out with a 3rd-pounder to compete with McDonald's quarter pounder. It didn't sell well because people thought it was smaller since 3 is less than 4. A&W had the 1/3-pounder. Everything the US did in Iran in the 70s. Started in 1953 and the British are to blame too. 2016. All of it. Not just the election. Not just Brexit. But all of it. We seem to have really gone and sunken to a new low of narcissism and indulgence. Vietnam War. Started the Ken Burns documentary on the US Vietnam War. The amount missteps, misreads and bad assumptions that led to that cluster duck is truly amazing. The mad Roman Emperor Caligula ordered his legions and heavy artillery to stand on a beach. He then declared war against Neptune and ordered his men to collect seashells as war booty. There is a school of thought that this was not madness but asserting his authority over the legions, by saying basically you will do as I say no matter how demeaning it is. Mormonism should be mentioned. Dumb 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 dumb. Traffic. Basically all traffic that you encounter is the manifestation of thousands of people being self-centered, short-sighted, and generally stupid. Traffic is a symptom of bad road planning, not people being selfish. There aren't an infinite amount of ways to get somewhere efficiently by road, and it's impossible for one person to predict the decisions of every other road user whenever they're planning to go somewhere. What is an act of mass stupidity is a society that is geared so heavily towards car ownership being the primary way to get from A to B. Didn't the plague spread faster because all the people saw cats as a bad omen and killed them all, which made the rats able to run wild and multiply like crazy? Or is that a common misconception that has been disproven? I expected it to be in the top comments. Dancing mania. In the Middle Ages, some communities would experience a dancing plague, where a crowd would form, start dancing, and literally dance for days until they died. Nobody knows why. H.G. Wells read his novel War of the Worlds out over the radio, and people who hadn't heard the beginning believe they had tuned into a news broadcast and started losing their minds. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.